Hey everybody, Barry at CTech-review. Today I wanted to do a ride and drive and talk to you guys about how frustrated I am with the car market right now. You guys see my videos. If you watch the channel much, you'll realize I'm not a real brand loyal guy. I kind of do what's best for my pocketbook, and that's what I want to kind of share with you guys. Today I want to kind of talk about how the market is shifting, and I kind of want to talk about what can you do to put a plan in place to do what's best for you and your family, for not just getting a deal, but trying to protect for like the next few years of vehicle buying, because I think things are gonna get a little wild. Let's get into this. What do I mean things are gonna get wild? As I've mentioned in prior videos, I am not gonna get into the political stuff that's going on in the world right now, because it doesn't matter. You guys are bombarded on it, and it's not my plan. But regardless of those factors, there's a lot going on that impact prices of vehicles as well as availability of vehicles. So as I'm driving right now, I'm driving a loaner Navigator right now, because our Navigator's in the shop. One of the headlights, the beauty LED light needed to get fixed, and anyhow, the dealer gave me a loaner. Great, awesome. I'm driving this thing, and you know, I'm kind of looking at this thing, and I'm like, man, this thing's 4 years newer than mine, and it's got less options. I don't see a heads-up display on a Navigator. That's kind of crazy. And then I'm looking, and I'm like, that doesn't have massaging seats. Then I look, it doesn't have the engine cover, the Lincoln engine cover. Do you need it? No, but it's this nice kind of like premium thing that goes over the top of the engine on the Lincolns to kind of make the EcoBoost look a little more premium. And while I was at the dealership the other day, I was checking out the all new, brand new 2025 Lincoln Navigator. Brand new, redesign, looks awesome, okay? And I'm just looking at it, and I'm kind of looking, I'm like, dang, this thing is super high tech. They got away from heads-up display, and they went to this new panoramic style digital dash, which is exactly what they did on the Nautilus a few years ago. Now, I'm gonna put a link down below. That is a really nice vehicle. I definitely recommend checking it out. Just watching a video quickly or see some pictures online. It's an incredible, nice mid-size SUV. With that all being said, I start looking past the newness of the vehicle. And what do I notice? Well, the first thing I notice, I open the door and I'm like, well, where are the seat controls? And I'm looking at the door material, and I'm like, well, this is soft touch, looks pretty nice. The door controls look nice for the windows. But I noticed the seating controls, the massage seat controls, all the seating controls are missing. And I also noticed that the bottom part of the door is a hard plastic now, not a soft covered, completely soft touch material like our Navigator, which is 5 model years old. And then I also notice, I get inside, I'm looking around, and I'm like, it's obviously super high tech, and there's a lot of beautiful appointments. But I noticed now that it doesn't have full massaging seats, it's just back massaging seats. I'm like, okay, well, if you're a fan of heads-up display, they don't have heads-up display anymore, because the thought is you go from a standard gauge cluster here to more moving it up higher, and the thought is, well, you don't really need the heads-up display. So I can see the pros and cons to that. But then I look at it, it's $124,000, and then that's when I realized, dude, that's a crap ton of money. It has less features in a lot of ways than a 5-year-old Lincoln Navigator. It has less premium finishes, and it's a ton of money. Now you could say, well, go price a Navigator, go price an Escalade, go price a Wagoneer, go price a new Lexus. I totally agree, guys. They're all insanely expensive. But then I took a step back and thought, this is insane. What world do we live in that now full-size SUVs, $100,000 is the new standard or more, and they have less features in most cases than ones that are 3 to 5 years old? So then I said, you know, if you watch my channel, you realize I like Ford vehicles. They've always had the design and their powertrains always aligned with what I want. I'll give up the sound of a V8 for fuel economy of an EcoBoost and towing performance of an EcoBoost at the loss of the sound of a V8. And that's been kind of my mantra. I just think the performance of it's pretty good, and it's now it seems to be a pretty solid reputation for the most part. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start looking at some other brands. and maybe I'm going to consider a GMC. So we went and looked at some GMC Yukons, and I'm like, you know, I'm also going to look at Toyota. I've never owned a Toyota in my life. I've always been, like, for the most part, like big three or maybe some of the German cars. And I trying to go see a TRD Pro Sequoia because I think the thing looks really cool. And I like that the thing is the only full-size SUV with Fox 2.5 shocks. I'm like, that's freaking awesome. This is like a really cool off-road, good-looking SUV. MSRP, $81,000. It's a ton of money, no question. But that's kind of around the same price as a Ford Expedition, the new trimmer that came out. Very, very similar price. But it's not that simple because I've called like 3 dealerships. Nobody's got these things in stock. No dealership wants to negotiate or offer any discounts. And some dealerships want to ask 5 to 10 grand over. In 2025, in a volatile economy, they want 5 to 10 grand over MSRP for a Toyota Sequoia. Now, some of you guys that watch a channel are Toyota people and you know the process, so this is probably normal. But for me, I just can't wrap my mind around it's 2025, not 2020, that I can't order a new Toyota if I want it. And I just have to wait at the mercy of what Toyota is going to show up. And I'm going to pay sticker, if not more. And there's no discounts. Take it or leave it, whatever accessories Toyota throws on it or whatever dealership. If you don't like it, this is what they said. Well, someone else will buy it. And I feel for you guys because I see the comments down below, the term let it rot. And all I thought was, man, this is a bunch of arrogant BS. And how is this empowering to the consumer when you've got manufacturers saying, take it or leave it, blah, blah, blah. And then I thought, how do you fix this solution where people can get better priced vehicles? How do you fix this? And will it ever get fixed? You know, my answer to that is, and I think you guys would agree, more competition. How do you get the prices down on these legacy car manufacturers? More competition. They need more competition. They've gotten comfortable. They know the base is going to buy their vehicles because who else is there? Ford, GM, Chrysler, Toyota, Honda, maybe some of the, you know, European cars, but that's it. You know, you got like 5 major brands. So, and then I started thinking, how do we get more competition in the US market where we can all get fair pricing? Well, once again, I'm not going to make this channel about politics, but there's not going to be much competition in the United States market for car manufacturers as long as some of these things that are in place right now are in place, because you've basically just pushed out a lot of competitors in the market, where in reality, what we all need is more competitors. And I've worked in the automotive industry long enough to know you're not going to see more American car manufacturers just say, you know what, man, I want to get into the market of making a full-size truck, a full-size SUV, a small, affordable car. Nobody wants to get into car manufacturing in the United States because the margins are tight. Investors don't want to give you money because it's a low-margin business. But other countries, they're open to manufacturing those cars at a lower cost than what the legacy companies do here. So I keep thinking, if we want more affordable cars to be available to the average consumer, the 99% of people of America, do we want to raise prices or do we want more competition? I think you know the answer to that, but it's just frustrating because everything I'm seeing is we're going to have less competition, which is going to drive prices up even more, which then brings me back to the videos I've been talking about recently. When is the right time to buy a vehicle? Because it's been not great for the last 3 or 4 years, and everybody keeps saying, I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of big channels on YouTube that get a lot of clicks have been saying, oh, prices are dropping 30, 35%. I just talked to 3 large GMC dealerships today. I talked to 3 Toyota dealerships today, and I've obviously always talked to Ford and GM dealer, or Ram and Jeep dealers all the time. Dude, prices are not coming down at all. And in fact, they're telling me they're expecting prices to go up substantially with the impacts that they're seeing with supply chain issues now coming. So the thought of prices coming down 30, 35%, I see no chance of that. And I'm wondering if we're going to actually see the inverse. Are we going to see prices come up 20, 30%? There's only one vehicle right now that I've seen that the pricing actually makes sense right now. And you guys are going to laugh at me for saying this, but it's Teslas. The deals on used Teslas right now are amazing. And whether you like electric vehicles or not, I think everybody should look at it right now because it's the most affordable option. I saw a 2023 Tesla Model Y long range all-wheel drive version the other day. This guy's asking 25 grand. You can say, man, 25 grand is a lot of money. What can you get for 25 grand anymore? 25 grand will hardly get you anything. But to have a 2-year-old Tesla that's still under warranty for like another 75,000 miles, and that's what they're asking, could you get this thing for 20 grand? I saw a Model 3 Tesla the other day for like $15,000. I'm not saying you should go buy a Tesla or not, because but that is like the most affordable vehicle you can buy right now. You want a full-size SUV, you're gonna pay a ton of money. You want a mid-size SUV, you want a pickup truck, light duty, gas, it doesn't matter. They're all insanely priced. And sadly, I'm not seeing deals coming. I'm actually worried it's gonna get worse. I was at Bob Maxey yesterday doing some videos for you guys, and I was just taking inventory. What do I see on the lot? I do this all the time. Once again, Super Duties, considerably less than what they had the last video. I think they were down to like 20. How about F-150s? That's the least I've ever seen F-150s there. They had a handful of Mavericks. They had a bunch of like EcoSports, and they had a handful of Bronco Sports, handful of Bronco Raptors. Nobody's buying Bronco Raptors now. That market's like dropped substantially. A few Super Duties, but the trend was inventory is going down. The sales guys are telling me they're still selling. Like they said, January, February is not great, but like March and April has actually been sort of decent. So my question to you guys is, I'm curious, leave your comments down below. Do you actually think prices are going to come down? And I'm just curious, if you're a CEO of an OEM car manufacturer, and even more important, you have an obligation to shareholders. Even though we think we're the end consumer, we're buying these vehicles, that's true, but to them, who's just as important, if not more important, are the shareholders. And do you think shareholders that own stocks of Stellantis, General Motors, and Ford, do you think they want to see their profits erode by reduced prices on cars? No chance. So my question to you guys, what do you think is the fix to making more affordable cars for us Americans today in 2025? I know what my answer is. I want more competition, not less competition. And I would love to see more jobs in the United States. That's amazing. Who would not love that? With that being said, is that going to reduce our pricing for vehicles this year or in the next few years? Leave your comments down below, guys. I would love to get your perspectives. I'm pretty tight with a lot of different tier 1 automotive, tier 2 automotive suppliers. They're all telling me the same thing. Prices are going up on components going to the OEMs, and we don't think the OEMs are going to absorb these costs. So just curious your guys' thoughts. Thanks for watching.